Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please take your seat. We'll start in 2 minutes. Thank you.
In this place where the saltwater blends with the fresh, the world's greatest water warriors will meet.
Stay in my lane, I stay in my lane. I sweat and I train, I focus and aim. Stay in my lane, I stay in my lane. They calling my name, I'm killing the game. Who won it? I paid dues on it. Ain't afraid to bet, I won't lose on it. Champion status, the baddest. Anything they throw at me, I'm a ravage.
Good morning, my dear friends and colleagues. Welcome to Melbourne, Australia for the extraordinary Fina Congress and also for the World Short Course Championship. I'm very happy to see after a long time our member federation is gathering and assembled here in beautiful city, Melbourne. And on behalf of all of you, I would like to thank Australia Swimming and also the city of Melbourne and the Victoria State, and also the organizing committee. I would like to give the floor now to the President of Australia Swimming, Dr. Michelle Gallen, the floor. Please, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And welcome, Mr. President. Thank you, Fina Bureau members, and to all of us here, everybody gathered here in the Big Aquatics family. It's lovely to see you all. I'd like to start today by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, the Wurundjeri people, and also the traditional owners of the land that the pool is on for the rest of the rest of the week, the Bunurong people. I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. By now you will have all seen some of the beautiful artwork that we've had that has been designed by the traditional owners of this place, and that we're very proud to incorporate into our event for the coming week. On behalf of the Board of Swimming Australia and the entire team, I welcome you all here as we add to the rich history of Fina over today in particular, and then over the coming week. It's an honour to have you all here on Australian soil for the first time since 2007, and with a couple of very turbulent years more recently in between. It's just lovely to see everybody back here in Australia. We hope this trip is very successful and enjoyable for each of you. Enjoy reconnecting with each other, enjoy making new connections, which I shall certainly do over the next week. I personally look forward to meeting very many of you, as many as I can over the next week. And finally, I'd like to give a massive shout out to our wonderful events team. I think the collaboration between Fina and Swimming Australia in delivering this event here in Melbourne is just an evidence of what we can do together. And when we come together, just how quickly we can change and pivot and address our circumstances, and also how wonderful it can be. So hopefully this is a little bit of a benchmark in this future collaborative relationship that we all have. And thank you all very much.
Thank you, President. Thank you. Mr. Brent Novicki, Fina Executive Director, you have the floor.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Mr. President, I am pleased to confirm to you that in accordance with C 15.9 of the Fina Constitution, we have a quorum for today's Congress. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brent. Mr. Michele Bernasconi, the Chairman of the Reform Committee, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Also from my side, welcome and good morning, everyone. A huge pleasure to be here. Before we start, more important things. Those of you that need interpretation, you see now in the screen how to access interpretation. You can simply use the QR code and then enter the access code that you can see in the image. And this will allow you to access the app that provides you with interpretation services. Should this not work, which is possible, of course, technology is not always fantastic. Sometimes yes, but sometimes not totally. So if it doesn't work, you have received this morning an email with a link that you can use instead of the QR code. So this is as for the interpretation. If there are no questions in relation with interpretation, we can move on to the voting system. The voting system is at the same time very easy and very complicated. I have to say, for me, it's the most worrying thing of this morning. You have this time only one paddle. You have received one paddle. Of course, that means that if you are only one person representing one national federation, you have received two paddles. But each paddle has both colors. It's just a system to see that everybody remains awake. So you see one side is green and one side is red. When you want to vote, you have to show to the president of Fina the color you want to show. It is not the color that you watch, which is the relevant one. In other words, if you want to vote yes, you are asked to show to us, to the Bureau members, to me, and to the President, the green side, and you will have the red side on your side. If you want to say no, you have to do, obviously, the opposite. If you want to abstain, you will have to raise your hand. And if you are one delegate representing a federation, you have to use, obviously, both paddles and both hands. Now, I know that this maybe sounds terribly easy, but in order to be sure, we don't need to do this test for the online voting, because this is somehow easier. They don't have a paddle, obviously. But if you allow me, I would like to make a test with the people here in the room. So can you please show me the yes? So show me the paddle that you want to show to us to vote yes. Excellent. I see only green colors. I still make a difference between green and red. So, Mr. President, I think the voting system has been tested. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michele.
Yes. After the voting procedure has been explained how it works, we have now to find out how to calculate, to count the votes. And I would like to propose, Mr. President, the following three scrutineers. We have Ms. Anna Kroger, Mr. Craig Hunter, and Mr. Hauran Yuan. If there is, you want to...
You approve the appointment of the scrutineers. Yes, it's approved. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Then the 3 scrutineers are approved. So, Mr. President, now that we know how to vote, and now that we know that the scrutineers are ready, I think we look forward to hear your welcome speech. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dear friends, I am so happy that we are all assembled here in beautiful Melbourne. Australia is one of the world's biggest aquatic nations, and I know that we have so much that we will enjoy when the competition begins tomorrow. Over the next week, we will see many examples of what is great about Fina and the Fina family. We will see world-class performance by incredible athletes in an exceptional venue with passionate and knowledgeable spectators. Anybody coming to Melbourne and watching a Fina event for the first time would be justified in asking the question, why does anything need to change? This looks perfect to me. And of course, that person is right to be impressed. I am so proud of the events that we put on. I am also so proud of the reforms that we have made since I took over as a president last year. We have achieved so much together during the past 18 months. My friends, you have supported me in every step of the way, and I am extremely grateful for that. With your backing, we have put our athletes first. We have given them a louder voice in a decision-making process. We have given them a greater protection through the aquatics unit, integrity unit, and we will have given them increased prize money. There is still more for us to do. We need to make further changes, and I will talk about them in a minute. But first, I want to mention some of the people who have helped us deliver the excellent progress that we have already made. We have employed new faces in our executive team under the excellent leadership of Mr. Brent Novicki. Brent, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for all your hard work and dedication. I would ask you to join me in thanking the members of the Reform Committee. These men and women are experts from all over the world. They have generously given up so much of their time over the past 18 months. They have recommended reforms that will shape our future. Please join me in giving them a very big thank you. In Abu Dhabi and Budapest, you voted in favor of all reforms that had been proposed. Today, I need your support again. Our reform committee has advised us to make more important changes, including one of the most significant so far. We need a new constitution, and we need to talk about changing Fina's name. None of us can remember our international federation begin called anything other than Fina. It is a name that has been in the place since 1908, and it is a name that have served us well. The history of our sport goes back much further than Fina. The world's first swimming organization was formed in London in 1837, and the first swimming championship was held here in Australia in 1846. But time changed, and we need to change with the time. Fina is a French acronym. The word natation represents swimmers. These days, swimmers are only one important part of our Fina family. We need a name that reflects the whole Fina family, a name that can be used with pride by our artistic swimmers, divers, high divers, open water swimmers, and our water polo athletes. I will always tell you that our athletes must come first. So I would never make a big decision like this without consulting our athletes. Their response has been very clear. More than 70% of the athletes that we have spoken with have said that they would like us to change Fina names. Many of them could not even tell us what the letter is F-I-N-A stand for. We have spoken to people in every part of Fina family, including many people in this room today. It is important that you all have a voice in a decision like that. I can tell you that there is a strong feeling that we should change our name. Fina is our past, and we should look back on much of the past with pride and affection. But our future must begin here today. If we are going to have a name change, then of course the next big question is this: what should be the new name? I always believe in listening to the expert, and we brought in Martin Group, which specialize in building brands. They suggest many different options for a new name. The proposed names were tested among athletes, coaches, administrators, fans, and many others. One name has come out clearly on the top. This is the name that I recommended to you today. It is the name that I hope will become our new identity and for the generation to come. So I know that you are keen to find out what is this new name. The clear recommendation is that our new name should be World Aquatics. I am excited. It is a name that is easy to understand. Keep us in line with other international federations and will represent all our athletes. Alongside our name, our new name, we also need an updated constitution. It is important that our constitution follows the Olympic Charter, and our new constitution will include changes that are necessary to do that. Most importantly, we will increase the representation of the women on the Bureau. This has been one of my main priorities since I became your president. I am delighted that the enlarged Bureau will have more guaranteed place for women. The new Bureau will be roughly 38% female. This is a big and very significant step forward for us. Of course, there is still much more that we can do. Our target must be 50-50, a split. But today's vote will take us much closer to that goal. We are also reducing the number of our committees. I am so grateful for the hard work that have been done by so many members of our committees over a long period of time. But I believe that we can achieve more together by focusing on committees that can have the biggest impact on our federation. The new Athletes Committee is an excellent example. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Aliyah Atkinson, the chair, and the rest of the members for all excellent work that they have already done since their election in June. You are making a vital contribution. You are making sure that the voice of our athletes are heard. My friends, we have come a long way together since I became your president. We can hold our heads high. We have made changes that are already benefit our athletes. Other international federations look at what we have done during the past 18 months and congratulate us. We are setting standards that others now look to follow. Today, I need your support to go even further. If you vote in favor, then we will have a new constitution, a new name, and a new look. We will have a brand that our marketing team can promote more effectively around the world, helping to raise important new revenue to support our athletes. We will have a name and constitution that are designed for the 21st century. My friends, I urge you to support us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. If I may start with the formal part, we have to approve the agenda that you have received. Just to make clear, the next steps will be the approval of the budget, then the important a vote about a new constitution with a new name, and there will be a replacement vote to be made for the AQU. Before we do that, so we can start with the first, Mr. President, you want to invite the treasurer to the lecture maybe?
Thank you, Michaela. But first, do you approve the agenda? The agenda is approved. Thank you very much. Please, Mr. Dale Newberger, approval of the budget for 2023 and 2024. Dale, you have the floor.
Good morning to all. It's an honor and privilege for me to present the Fina Treasurer's Report to this Fina Extraordinary Congress in Melbourne, consistent with the responsibilities outlined in the Fina Constitution. I can confirm to you that the 2023 and 2024 budgets that are presented to you today have been reviewed by the Fina Audit Committee and approved by the Fina Bureau at its meeting yesterday. The 2023 and 2024 budgets are now available on the Fina website, providing full transparency to all. Additionally, the external audits performed by PricewaterhouseCoopers for the years 2013 to 2021 are also available on the Fina website to enable context over an 8-year period. And you've received in your delegate packet a copy of this Treasurer's Report and the Audit Committee report, including the budgets in annex. As all of you know, the pandemic has caused great disruption to Olympic sport, necessitating postponements of events on the aquatic calendar. Additionally, the hostilities in Ukraine caused the reassignment of championships previously awarded. As a result, the financial results on a year-to-year basis show operating surpluses and deficits unlike the patterns we've experienced in previous years. To illustrate the impact of postponed or reassigned events, I remind you that the 2017 to 2020 quadrennium had just 3 major events: 2 World Swimming Championships in Budapest and Guangzhou, and 1 Fina World Swimming Championships 25 meters in Hangzhou, China. Conversely, the 2021 to 2024 quadrennium has 7 major events: 2 Olympic Games, Tokyo and Paris, 3 Fina World Swimming Championships in Budapest, Fukuoka, and Doha, and 2 Fina World Swimming Championships, Melbourne and Budapest. And to emphasize even more plainly the financial disparities from year to year, 3 of these major events will take place in 2024: the Paris Olympic Games, the Fina World Championships in Doha, and the Fina World Swimming Championships 25 meters in Budapest. Thankfully, we will return to a traditional event schedule in 2025, and that'll provide a more predictable revenue stream. To provide the highest level of clarity and transparency to you, I present an 8-year summary which encompasses the financial results of 2017 to 2021 and the financial projections for 2022, 23, and 24. From the historic income statement, which was just on the screen, and the forecast with it, it's important to note the following. The 2017 to 2020 quadrennium shows a net deficit of $15.5 million, while the 2021 to 2024 quadrennium reflects a projected net surplus of $27.8 million. On a cumulative basis over 8 years from 2017 to 2024, we project an operating surplus of $12.3 million. Taking into consideration the significant disruption, competition calendar across all the disciplines, this is a very satisfactory result. What you see on the screen, on the past screen was, and we project that reserve funds will be more than $125 million at year-end 2024. However, it should be fully understood that the Fina Bureau, under the leadership of President Hussein al-Musallam, endorsed the continuation of support programs to continental associations, national federations, and athletes through these uncertain times. Despite the uncertainties encountered during these years, Fina did not retreat. Instead, our support programs never wavered. Certainly, Fina could have a better overall financial result if these programs were curtailed or diminished. Evidence of this philosophy is shown in the $170 million dispersed in athlete and federation support over the 8-year period, 2017 to 2024. And I want to emphasize that number to you, $170 million over an 8-year period to 4 specific programs. The Olympic Aquatic Support Program, which is direct aid to continental associations and national federations, $31.9 million. The Athlete Scholarship Program, 140 athletes across 4 disciplines, $18 million. Athlete prize money over this 8-year period, $78.8 million. And travel assistance provided to national federations to world championships and congresses, $28.6 million. Continuation of these programs ensured our stakeholders had the necessary financial resources to endure the uncertainties of these very difficult years. And our sport has thrived, and our outlook has never been more favorable and optimistic. I'm pleased to provide to you the summary of highlights for 2024. 3 of the major Fina events in 2022 are alternative sites: the Fina World Championships in Budapest in June, the Fina World Junior Swimming Championships in Lima, Peru in August and early September, and the Fina World Swimming Championships 25 meters here in Melbourne. Fina is enormously grateful to the national federations and public authorities of these 3 countries, Hungary, Peru, and Australia, for their incredible support. Fina participated in the governance survey administered by ASWAF, the Association of Summer Olympic International Federations, for all of the federations who will be on the Paris 2024 program. Through the diligent efforts of President Hussein al-Musallam and Executive Director Brent Nowicki, Fina achieved the highest score increase of any international federation. Combined with the employment of Finance Director Jeremy Conrad Pickles and the prodigious work of the Fina Audit Committee, Fina financial management systems are robust and comprehensive. The projected operating deficit for 2022 is $17.1 million, which compares to the operating surplus we have achieved in 2021 of $12.3 million. The primary reasons for the deficit in 2022 is the staging of championship events in relocated sites where the financial results are not as favorable as projections in the original sites, combined with the continuation of the programs we talked about previously and record disbursement of development funds back to national federations. Additionally, it's well understood that the global financial markets have had considerable turbulence in 2022. As a result, the investment performance of Fina reserve funds experienced a significant decline. Fina is introducing in 2023 an investment committee which will support the Fina office in monitoring the institutions mandated to manage Fina's investment portfolio. And finally, I'm pleased to present the budgets for 2023 and 2024. which I hoped you would see on the screen, and will provide, let me see if I can get back to that. We'll do it from the two columns on the far left. A significant, the highlights of the 2023 and 2024 budgets are the following. A significant $43.3 million surplus over the next 2 years, while providing an increasingly active development program, prize money outlay, and championship event program. The substantial surplus over the next 2 years is a direct result of championship event postponements in previous years, and this reinforces the necessity of viewing overall financial results over an extended 8-year time period. In 2023, the Fina World Championships will be staged in Fukuoka, Japan. And as indicated previously, 2024 will have the trifecta of an Olympic Games, a Fina World Championships, and a Fina World Swimming Championships. We expect to have enhanced marketing and broadcast arrangements, new championship event partners, and advanced analytical methodology to provide greater efficiency in delivery of our programs and events. And lastly, we continue to believe there's huge untapped potential for our sport and for Fina. And we strive to unlock that potential by modernizing and repositioning our organization with best practices of good governance. I've presented to you the budgets for 2023 and 2024, and I turn it back to you, Mr. Chairman, for a vote of the delegates to this Congress related to the budgets.
Thank you, Dale. First of all, any question from the member delegate? If any question, please raise your hand. So no question. Then we proceed to the vote. Mr. Michela.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I now ask the 3 scrutineers to enter into function and also the volunteers for the calculation of the votes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dale.
So, do you approve the budget that has been presented by the treasurer? If yes, please show us the green side of the paddles. Thank you very much. I ask you to keep the paddles up so that they can be counted. Okay, now, thank you very much. Votes against, show us the red color. If any votes against, please show us the red side of the paddle. I see no red votes. Abstentions, please raise the hand. I don't see any abstentions. So we ask now the scrutineer to go to the voting counting where the votes can be added to the votes online. Even though I have to say the outcome of the vote doesn't seem to be particularly disputed, but it's important that we give full attention also to the members that are not able to be with us in person today. So if you don't mind, we prefer to really give the time to effectuate also the voting online. So we have to wait 1-2 minutes before receiving the final numbers. Thank you.
Thank you, Michaela.
We're waiting for the numbers.
Oh, okay. we are waiting for the vote from the online. We need another 1 minute.
Thank you very much. Obviously, there is not such a big surprise that the budget has been approved unanimously with 164 votes. Thank you very much on this, and thank you for your patience in the counting. Mr. President, I give the word back to you.
Thank you. We go to agenda item number 6, the updates and the final report from the Fina Reform Committee. Mr. Michela Bernasconi, you have the floor.
So, thank you, Mr. President. I'm still the same person. That is not that I'm changing, but I have a particular moment to thank all of you for the work that we could do, to thank the President, to thank the Bureau for the support we received. But I want also to thank my dear friends of the Reform Committee. Some are here. It's a good support not to be here alone. And some will join maybe online. It has been a teamwork not only because the Reform Committee was a big committee, but it was also a very diverse committee, as the President said in his welcome speech. All genders, all nations, all countries, former athletes, officials, continental representatives. So it was really an interesting group. So I don't know where to push, but somewhere we go. This one doesn't work. Okay. It's very good to know technique. You have to push very strongly. So to show that, yes, next slide. The journey of the Reform Committee, we started with you. It was a fantastic General Congress in June, where the President has been elected in 2021, and the Reform Committee was appointed. So it was you that gave us not only the authority, but also the duty to start our work. And what we have done, well, we discussed among us, but we discussed also among the many member federations. We tried to understand what were the needs. We discussed also with specialists, with business specialists from the business world, media specialists, because reform is not only one small sector, reform is a lot of things. So I'm happy now to look with you to the work done. The work done is what François Carrard, our late friend that I miss so a lot today because he was the chair when we started, he said the work is not a work of one day, it's not a work of one step. Reform will test our patience. We have to work long and slowly, but without stopping. So the first report that you received was in October 21. There we proposed already some changes. Then we had Abu Dhabi Congress in December of 21, where we came up to the conclusion that actually we needed a new constitution, and since then we prepared the draft of the constitution that the Reform Committee proposed in October to the Bureau, and with a great joy for all of us all members of the Reform Committee, the Bureau accepted in October and submitted to all of you, asking you to vote on this today. Now, if we look at this new constitution, I would like to some highlights. The first is the commitment to some of the Fina's values. Those values that were mentioned in the first speech of the president when he was elected, those values that are part of this family of all the disciplines of all the countries that form Fina. So democracy, right to equality, no discrimination, neutrality, transparency, accountability, fair play, and generally clean, fair sport. The second highlight, the second very important point, 2020 and 2021 and 2022 have been years that brought to the attention of the world things that we would not expect, like war, like epidemic. Well, an organization of such an importance like Fina has to have measures that can be adopted in case of those unbelievable situations. And this is a second part of the new constitution, the possibility of take those kind of measures worldwide for all disciplines. And then, yes, athletes come first, you said, Mr. President. Athletes are at the center of Fina, and we try to put athletes at the center of the new constitution. Meaning, for example, that yes, the chair of the athlete committee is a bureau member, ex officio, but also that the 20 elected members of the athletes committee can vote in the Fina Congress. President already mentioned in this welcome speech the importance of the enlarged bureau. Frankly, I am the first that at the start I wasn't sure that the number we propose now is the right one. And in fact, you can have any kind of number. There will always be advantages and disadvantages. For this, we were sure that we wanted a better geographical representation in the Bureau. And also, we wanted a much better gender representation in the Bureau. So enlargement was a way to achieve this. We introduced also in the new constitution articles, measures, possibility to reduce cost and expenses, because there is no time now to spend unnecessarily. And with this, we tried also to maximize the efficiency of the work of such a large bureau. Are we sure that it will work well? We cannot be sure in advance, but I really trust that the new bureau will be a better representation, and yes, I have reason to believe that the measures we introduced to increase efficiency and cost efficiency will improve the work, or will make possible that even such a large bureau will be a great body of this fantastic institution. Corporate governance means also age and term limits. I am the first one that appreciates the wisdom of those that saw more than I did, but it's also important to understand that an institution needs change. So age limits were introduced, an age limit of 75 years. We discussed a lot within the Reform Committee. Again, you can pick up every age you want, and who knows, there is not one solution for all, but we believe this is the right age. We also introduced term limits, and here I want to address one of the issues that have been discussed within the Reform Committee, and also only a few days ago, we received a letter for which I want to thank the chair of the Nordic Swimming in asking or criticizing the term limit proposed for the president. The Bureau asked me to comment on this because it is good if we receive comments, criticism, to address them. Personally, I think it is absolutely important that the president has a term of office in line with the Olympic Charter. Second, I have to say myself in my 27, 28 years of work with sport federations, I really saw several international federations not profiting by the usual, always present campaign modus that are there, that exist if a president needs to be re-elected every 3-4 years. A federation needs stability. Stability in order to move on with reforms. You cannot do reforms if you do not have stability. It's a completely wrong idea that if you change always the chair, you will have a better change of the organization. This is not true. An organization can change if there is a stability on the basis of that. For this, the Reform Committee discussed and we proposed the term limits for the president in line with a positive experience that the IOC made in the past years. And then, as you know, because I'm very thankful that you elected the members in June in Budapest, we have this new AQU, a fully independent and neutral, and I really hope efficient body. Again, I want to mention that in the letter of the president of Nordics Swimming, there has been a question whether we could, let's say, improve the efficiency or the independence of the AQU. Personally, I believe that if the AQU members are elected by the Congress, well, the Congress is the highest authority of Fina. The Congress will remain always the highest authority of Fina. And so by electing the AQU members, you can give them the legitimacy to be independent and neutral. In addition, I have to say, we are developing some procedural rules to make sure that also the process is independent and remains independent. The committees, the President already mentioned the committees. I can be short here. We do believe within the Reform Committee that it's not anymore the time to simply have committees just because committees are in the Constitution. Committees are there if necessary, where necessary, and as long as necessary. The world changes too much. The world changed too fast. We cannot be blocked simply because a committee is not foreseen by the Constitution, and this is why we think it is a duty of the Bureau to appoint committees when necessary. I mentioned already good governance. I think if you read the draft of the Constitution that has been distributed to you, you saw that there are new internal audit process. There's a new business and investment committee proposed. There's a new remuneration committee proposed. And I think with that, the good governance of FINA will increase a lot. I already made some comments on the input received. May mention already also that some of the last comment in the letter of the president of Nordic Swimming was in relation with the number of the elected athletes committee. Yes, that was I will say, a simple typo. I will come in a moment with a correction of some typos and mistakes that were in the draft that you received. Originally, there was the definition of elected members. The elected members are 20. The definition got out, and therefore the number got out. We are now reinserting it. And also, we received an input from a national federation asking to please clarify the ex officio membership of FINA Bureau members in national executive bodies. So this is also a point that we took on in the final redaction. With this, I come to this final redaction. In October, when the draft has been submitted to you, the Bureau appointed a language ad hoc committee to review the language of the draft. You know that English is not the most spoken language in the world. The most spoken language in the world is bad English, like mine. And for this, we needed people with good English skill to review the draft. And I would like to go very quickly, and really here I need your patience, very quickly to those changes that we introduced thanks to the input of the redactional committee. Of course, typos and grammar mistakes have been corrected. a table of contents has been added, definitions have been clarified. In Article 3, we replaced the word mission with commitment to avoid any misunderstanding with the mission of Fina. In Article 6, we added "and subject to" because that was missing and therefore made unclear the meaning of "in accordance with." So you see there's no big revolution here. In Article 6.1f, we deleted "of Fina" because the Congress is a defined term, so we don't need to say the Congress of Fina. In Article 7, we added which are the actions for which a national member federation can be responsible. This is in line with the current constitution. The draft was a little bit too short and therefore unclear. In 8.11, for language reason, we deleted "normally." I found very nice to have this "normally" in, but I've been asked to remove it because it doesn't work. In 11.4c, here is in bold because this is maybe more important than a simple typo. We amended Fina Aquatis calendar, so we introduced the definition Fina Aquatis calendar instead of continental and the world. In 11.5, we added voted cast by the Bureau members to clarify the language of the rule. We added in the subtitle of Article 13.2 the word "forms," which is apparently the right English word for modalities, which is more a French expression of that cannot be used. And we deleted "in principle" in 13.5, which is again for simple language reason. We are getting close to the end. 13.7, here's what I mentioned. We clarified, since elected members was not anymore a definition, that the members elected of the athletes committee that have voting power is 20. In 13.14, we amended the meaning of "within 1 hour" in case the quorum for the start of a Congress is not met. In 14.6, we deleted for language reason the word "newly." In 15.1, we added "or Bureau member" to clarify the wording that was possibly not clear. In 7.2, we added this point I already mentioned, is the ex officio membership of Fina Bureau members. Here we clarified what it goes back to the current constitution, that Bureau members, I would like to read this aloud, Bureau members, so these are the Fina Bureau members, shall be ex officio members with a voting right in the Bureau and the General Assembly of the respective national federation to which they are affiliated, or by default, the national federation of which they are citizen. I think this is the same, basically, what you were expecting and what it was missing, and therefore, to clarify this, we introduced this. Finally, we deleted the present 2 years budget in the ordinary Congress for language reason, and in 24.6.d, we clarified again a mistake because of the list contained in letter D. It was looking like the Chief Ethics and Compliance Officer was to be a member of the Supervisory Council. This is, of course, not the case, so we clarified that the Chief Ethics is not a member of the AQ Supervisory Council in compliance with the needs of independence. Deleted the reference to GAAP standards because the accounting standards applied by Fina are not the GAAP. In 29.2, we added sanction include but are not limited to clarify the list. And finally, we added specific to replace the wrong special in 32.1. So these were the reduction. I thank here again the work of the ad hoc committee that clarified the meaning of so many provisions that maybe because of typos or grammar error was not very clear. The conclusion of this quick presentation, but of course I'm here afterwards to answer any question you may have. The process of reform as I said, is not a process of one day, is not a single event, is something that with the approval of this new constitution will have an important stone to which a lot of the future reforms can be based. The proposed new constitution in this redacted version and with the new name should be, in our view, should be the first step for a new chapter of Fina, a new chapter of this fantastic organization. For this, the Reform Committee proposed this new constitution, and we are extremely happy that the Bureau accepted it. And for this, with the following new Article 1, in which it is not only a redactional change, but is an important contribution, World Aquatics, formerly known as Fina, is the sole and exclusive world governing body for all aquatics. Thank you, Mr. President. I think now you can maybe ask the continental representative. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Michaela. Now I will give the floor to the President and the Vice President of each continent to give their remarks. Mr. Samran Sami, Africa.
Thank you, President. As Mr. Berlusconi has mentioned, the process has been followed, and I've discussed this with our federations, and we are extremely happy and congratulate the Reform Committee and the present President, Michaela Berlusconi, for what they have done, and we totally support all the amendments and the new constitution as proposed. Thank you, President.
Thank you, Mr. Sam. And now I give the floor to Asia, Madame Ji Hong. Madame? Yeah.
Thank you, President. Asia fully supports the FINA reform. Thank you.
Thank you, Madame. Now I give the floor to Europe Aquatics, Dr. Antonio Silva.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Europe full supports the changes in the Constitution, especially after the remarks and the considerations related to the letter that was sent before to the Nordics. That was, for us, a full explanation related to some question marks. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. And then I give the floor to America, Mr. Juan Carlos.
Thank you, President. Good morning. Voy a hablar en español.
Your translation,
Here.
please.
Quiero agradecer al equipo de Reforma por el excelente trabajo en nombre de su presidente. Hemos conversado con los líderes de América del mundo acuático y estamos muy contentos por la equidad y sobre todo visión de futuro de esta reforma. El continente de América apoya las enmiendas propuestas por el Comité de Reforma.
Thank you, Mr. Juan Carlos. I give the floor now to Oceania, Mr. Matthew Dunn.
Thank you, President. I confirm my support. I think the process was very well run by the committee, and the consultation period was very positive, and I think the reform changes a great step forward in a very positive direction for the future of FINA.
Thank you, Matthew. I open the floor now for any question or remark. The floor is open. Any federation would like to speak, raise the hand. Australia, please. Do you have the mic? Here.
Right here.
Microphone is coming.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Michaela, for the excellent run-through of the amendments to the draft. I'd just like to, I guess, point out a couple of things that I think are really promising in this new constitution and the work that's been done. The introduction of the Independent Aquatics Integrity Unit, I think, has been a marvellous addition for our sport. I come from an integrity background myself, but it's very close to our hearts, and I think that the way that you've got that established now will provide that oversight within the structure that will give everybody confidence in our sport moving forward. And I also look forward to the gender equality becoming a much more balance with this constitution, and then moving towards that 50-50 moving forwards. I think that's a really important step for world aquatics. So thank you very much for some of the very considered and forward-thinking change, which is always challenging. I like the quote that you also gave about it not being the work of a day. So well done to everyone involved.
Thank you, Swim Australia. The floor is open for any question or remark. Any national federation will speak here or online. Okay, please. Can you, I cannot see because of the light, just say your name.
Sorry, I understand. My name is Cato Brattbakk. I'm the president in the Norwegian Swimming Federation. There is a lot of good things in this new constitution. My problem is that we have got less than 2 months to look at it, actually. I think it's a little bit hasty. I think we should use a little bit more time before we change the constitution. And there are still some question marks in it. There are addressed a few here today. I'm a slow thinker, so I have to go back to see what that means in the constitution. And we had some discussion in Antalya with the chairperson around the issue around the presidency for 8 years. I think that's not a good idea. Not for you, Mr. President, but for the next generation. This is a constitution for the next 50 or maybe 100 years. We never know what type of president we will have, so to have an election every 4 years is a good thing, I think. I hope that actually this could be postponed to the next Congress, so we actually have time to see if there are improvements we could suggest for the Bureau. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Mr. Michela, please.
Yes, thank you very much. I have to say, yes, I was very pleased that European Aquatics has invited me to present in Antalya at the last General Congress of the European Continental Organization, and we had indeed very good discussions. I was very pleased that our proposal has been accepted, and as I mentioned, I think, as I mentioned in my presentation, there is everything. I always say 3 lawyers, 4 views, so you can see things in one way or the other. The Reform Committee discussed this. The Reform Committee discussed at length also with stakeholders, meaning athletes, meaning national federations. I fully respect the position of each national federation here. At the end, we believe that the system we introduced in the new constitution you have in front of you today is a balanced system where there is for the first time, a clear age limit, and at the same time some clear terms of office, some clear competences, some clear auditing process, internal review process. So I am of the view that now is the moment to move on and to have this new constitution for World Aquatics in place as from January 1st, 2023. But of course, all respect for everyone that believes something can be changed, but we are convinced that now is the moment to move on, I have to say.
Thank you, Michela. Anybody else would like to speak from the floor?
I see here on the right side.
right? Okay. Please, your name and your country, please. I cannot see from here.
Bonjour, Monsieur le Président. Je m'appelle Mamourou Boiré, le président de la Fédération malienne de natation. Je félicite le nouveau bureau de la Fina et notamment le comité d'organisation de cette compétition mondiale de natation. Toutefois, j'ai quand même certaines inquiétudes par rapport aux conditions de participation des fédérations nationales, notamment l'accès au visa et l'assistance de voyage. Monsieur le Président, nous connaissons actuellement des difficultés de participation au championnat du monde parce que l'accès au visa devient de plus en plus difficile. Le Mali n'a pas pu participer à Budapest. On envoie un seul nageur, heureusement, qui n'avait pas un problème de visa parce qu'il réside en France. Mais pour le reste de la délégation, nous n'avons pas pu avoir de visa. Pour le Melbourne, nous avons eu les visas à la dernière minute, ce qui fait que cela entraîne des retards de traitement, ne serait-ce que dans la prise des billets d'avion. Avant, par rapport à l'instance voyage, les prix, c'est-à-dire l'instant voyage, je ne sais pas pourquoi cette année, comment ça a été fixé, mais c'était des montants qui couvraient largement les prix des billets d'avion. Actuellement, ce n'est pas le cas. Nous avons été obligés de nous endetter pour que les 4 représentants soient aujourd'hui présents, mais à la moitié du prix qu'on nous accorde.
If I may,
autant il y a des avancées dans l'organisation, mais autant il y a des difficultés dans l'accès aux conditions de participation des pays. Et je voudrais vraiment attirer votre attention sur ces 2 aspects, afin que les conditions de choix des pays qui organisent, qu'on leur demande au moins d'assouplir les conditions d'accès au visa. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Merci. If I may answer, merci. Si vous me permettez, je réponds en anglais. I think the point is taken that for some countries, travel and visa difficulties are there. In this world, which is a global village, nevertheless, some difficulties are there. From a constitutional point of view, I can only say the new Article 8.8 is the article I was mentioning with these possible new measures that the Bureau can take and shall take in case of particular difficulties of particular extraordinary situations. In addition, you may have seen that the participation at the Congress has been facilitated in terms of online participation and online voting. So we believe that your point is very important. From a constitutional point of view, in the new constitution, it has been addressed, but I'm sure the Bureau and the Fina administration will take at their heart what you said about the difficulties you experienced very recently. And let us hope those difficulties will not happen anymore in the future.
Thank you, Michaela. There is no question from online. So any question now from here? Please, you have the floor.
This is Dr. Evenel Merveillus from Haiti. Every time I have the opportunity to take the microphone, and I feel happy to congratulate the members of Fina who have been doing such a wonderful job all over the world to develop swimming aquatic sports, which is very important, including Haiti, which we are working very hard. And I do believe without Fina, we would not have swimming in Haiti for your wonderful job. In the meantime, if I may, I would suggest in the next Congress, whenever you invite leaders of swimming aquatic association and federation to take in consideration when traveling 2 days to be here to attend Congress and departure the very next day without taking in consideration to attend the opening ceremony, to see the swimming event where our athletes perform. If you could take that in consideration while thinking about changing the Constitution, that would be very important, because it's pretty hard being tired, being in Congress, and departure the next day. We need to put in consideration our athletes who believe very proud of their leader, and in the meantime not being able to assist them. That is my suggestion.
Thank you, Doctor. I agree with you about your second point, that when the president of the Swimming Federation comes to any FINA event, and Congress followed by competition, at least you stay longer to see your athletes and you see the competition. And I'm sure the management will take care for this point. Thank you for raising this point. Okay, I see from the back. Name, please.
For Ukraine, Christina Komet. Dear FINA President, dear FINA Bureau members, and dear delegates of the Congress. On behalf of the FINA member, the Ukrainian Swimming Federation, we apply with request to FINA the FINA sanctions against Russia and Belarusian athletes and officials, and to exclude them in any status from FINA events in 2023 until the event on the invasion of Russian troops on Ukrainian territory. Today at the Congress, we're making decisions that should ensure fair play rules in the new constitution in aquatics, respect for athletes' rights, and their role in the development of our sport. However, because of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, with the help of the Belarusian government, the best swimming pools in Ukraine have been destroyed or damaged by Russian troops, and others cannot operate regularly due to Russian missiles hitting Ukraine's energy infrastructure. For example, even prior to entering today, almost half of Ukraine is under missile attack. Please keep that in context. Under such conditions, Ukrainian athletes and coaches are exposed to a threat to their lives, deprived of their rights and opportunities to train safely, and cannot compete equally at FINA events. At the same time, Russian and Belarusian athletes, many of whom are employees of police and military structures, support the aggressive actions and policies of their countries, which in fact is the genocide of Ukrainians. So I pose the question, how can athletes and representatives of the aggressor country be allowed to participate in world and continental sports forums? This is an excuse for war crimes and of their countries, and a violation of the fundamental principles of fair play in sport. Faced with condemnation in the lens of Russian aggressive actions, which are already causing problems in the operation of pools and in other countries on the European continent, the Russian Swimming Federation is looking for support in Asia and is asking ASF membership. This testifies to the desire of the Russian Aquatics Federations to avoid the responsibility of the representatives for supporting the war in Ukraine. Please be certain this appeal is not political. It is about fair play and about the athletes of Ukraine. We're trying to draw attention to safety of the principles of fair play in aquatics, within the aquatics family, and to exclude from participation in world and continental competitions of representatives of nations whose actions harm the development of our sport. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you for your remark. And concerning the Constitution part, as Mr. Michela, that due to what we are facing now, some difficulty, we have an article dealing with such situation. In relation to the support of Fina to the Russian athletes, Fina is the first international federation, not by talk, but by demonstration. We met your athletes, we support your athletes, and we work with the International Olympic Committee and with your Olympic Committee to support the athletes whom will compete and prepare for the high level to represent Ukraine at the Fina World Championship and also for the next Olympic Games. In relation to the political issue, Fina is the first international body suspend all the political, governmental official. They are not allowed to enter any of Fina event now and the future. No flag of Russia will be raised or any identity will be raised. And this is a decision being taken from long time. In relation to the athletes, Fina part of the Olympic movement. And you are referring to the result of the Olympic summit, which happened in Lausanne 2 days ago. The Olympic summit 2 days ago, there is no decision in relation to the participation of Russian athletes at this moment. There is studying as per the United Nations resolution. Sport should be neutral, free, and sport must govern by the sport people. And for the participation of the Russian and the Belarusian, that for the next Olympic Games, this decision, the whole Olympic family will decide about it, but not yet being taken at this moment. Your question about Russia asking to join Asia, I can confirm to you Russia did not ask to join Asia. It was a proposal that when the word come, the word of Olympic, and was supported by Europe also, and by United Nations, for the safety and the integrity of all athletes, the Russian and the other athletes, that maybe the Asian Championship or the Asian Game, if the whole world and the Olympic movement invite the Russian athlete, can be platform for the qualification for Paris Olympic Games. I can confirm to you our full commitment and support to Ukrainian athletes. I can confirm to you to work with you closely for the best result that your athletes from Ukraine can achieve next year in Fukuoka and also for the qualification for the Olympic Games. Thank you for your intervention. Any other question related to the Constitution? No question. Since there is no other question, Michaela, you have the floor, please.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you to all of you for your patience and listening. So we now move to the vote of the proposed new constitution with the redactional changes I highlighted, with a new name in Article 1, and with a proposed entry into force as from 1st January 2003. I am asking now to be indeed patient and to show us if you agree with the proposal to show to us the green side of your paddles. Thank you very much. So the vote is open, also online. So please show us if you agree the green sides of your paddles and keep them on because the scrutineers and their helpers are counting the votes. Thank you. Thank you. The count is completed for the yes votes. Now I ask the scrutineers to come back in counting the votes that are against. So if you are against the proposed redacted new constitution and the new name, please show us the red sides of your paddles. The scrutineers are kindly asked to count the votes. Thank you. So keep the paddle up, please, so that the scrutineers can count. From here, I see 3 votes, I have to say, 1 on this side and 2 on that side. Scrutineer are fine? Yes. Okay. Now we are counting the abstain votes. If you abstain to vote against or in favor, so just abstention votes, please raise 1 hand for each vote. If you are representing 2 votes of your member federation, please raise 2 hands. If you are only representing 1 vote, then only 1 hand. Thank you. From here, I see 1 hand, so I think you can go back and make the counting. Thank you very much. Now we need indeed a couple of minutes to count all the votes received, also online. Will take just 1 minute. It's not as fast as a 100-meter freestyle, but this will come later in the week. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now the results. I am extremely pleased to say that the new constitution, the redacted version with the new name, has been accepted with 175 votes in favor, 4 against, and 4 abstentions.
Thank you, Michaela. We have now a message from our aquatic athletes to you and to the world. And please, we need to present their message, athlete message.
We are
swimming. Wait, I messed that up. Swimming.
We are swimming.
We are swimming.
We are
We are water polo. Some water polo. We are water polo. We are water polo.
We are artistic swimming. Nous sommes natation artistique.
We are artistic swimming.
We are diving.
We are diving.
We are diving.
We are high diving.
We are high diving.
We are high diving.
We are
Open water.
open water.
Open water.
Niatkizi usash.
Open water swimming. We are open water swimming.
We are open water swimming.
We are united. We are united.
We are united by water.
We are united by water.
We are
We are world aquatics.
world aquatics.
We are world aquatics.
We are world aquatics.
Thank you and congratulations for the new name, new constitution, United Aquatic Family. And I would like just to say one thing about the constitution. As you know that there will be increase in the number of the bureau, 9 women plus 4 men, and this is according to the constitution that the bureau will fill the vacancy on the bureau members for the year 23-25, and I consulted the Continental Organization, and we have the name, and after this meeting we will decide about the new members representing each continent according to the new constitution. Thank you, and I will give the floor now to Mr. Brent Navicki.
Mr. President, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, a small note as previously highlighted by Chairman Bernasconi concerning the replacement of a member of the AQIU that had previously been voted into the adjudicatory. Mr. Jordi Lopez from Spain has informed our office that he has, for personal reasons, to resign from his post. With that, the Bureau proposes the name of Mr. Alexander Mest, attorney at law in Portugal, to replace Mr. Jordi Lopez in the AQIU. Mr. President, at this time, I suggest a vote whether the replacement of Mr. Lopez with Mr. Mest is approved.
Please, if you agree, raise your green card. I think it's a clear majority.
Thank you. Now we can have the vote against. Show us, please, the red side of the paddles, if there are any votes against. From here, I don't see any votes against. Any abstentions? If this is not the case, Mr. President, I assume that we can say that the choice of Mr. Alexander Mestre from Portugal has been ratified, and he will replace Mr. Jordi Lopez in the AQU.
Thank you very much, and congratulations for Mr. Lopez. Mr. Lopez. So I will give the floor to Brent before the closing remark, if you have anything to say to the Congress.
Ladies and gentlemen, just a reminder that you would have received by email an invitation to a celebratory party this evening in the chamber just down the hall at the Loom, which is a 360-degree digital art gallery museum, where we'll be featuring all sorts of exciting things surrounding the celebration of the new Constitution, the new Fina name, and a launch of the new Fina logo and identity. So that invitation would have been sent to you by email, so please check your email boxes and or your spam box. If you've not received an invitation, of course, please see a Fina staff member in the hall here today to ensure that you come and enjoy the celebration with all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Brent. At the end, At the end, I would like to thank everybody and every national federation, and I thank our athletes who really work very hard during the difficult time, the pandemic, and the war in Europe. And I'm very happy and proud that after this achievement, that we are one family united by one word, and our name is World Aquatics. And I wish you all the best of luck in your stay here in Melbourne, and good result for your athletes. And we are here. If you have any question or any help, we are ready to help you and respond to your question. And I wish you a safe travel back home, Merry Christmas and New Year, and good health next year, and looking forward to see you in Fukuoka. Thank you very much. Please, the Bureau members stay, and the delegates, I hope to see you during the lounge. At what time? The lounge? 4 o'clock? Brent, at what time the lounge? The party, at what time we have? كيف الحال ومبروك مبروك